This class we discuss unit 2, that is transmission media. So here transmission media is physical path between transmitter and receiver, that is the channel through which data is sent from one place to another place. So here transmission medium is physical path between sender and receiver, that is the channel through which the data is sent from one place to another place. So different types of transmission media are guided transmission media and second one unguided transmission media. So here first one guided transmission media. So different types of guided transmission media are unshielded twisted pair, shielded twisted pair, fiber optics cable and coaxial cable. So these are the different types of guided transmission media. So let us discuss each one. First one here unshielded twisted pair. So here the quality of unshielded twisted pair may vary from telephone grade wire to extremely high speed cable. So this unshielded twisted pair has 4 pairs of wires inside the jacket. So here this one is the outside jacket. So there are 4 pairs of wires inside one outer jacket. Okay, so here each pair is twisted with a different number of twists per inch to help eliminate interference from adjacent pairs and other electrical devices. So these 4 pairs, each pair is twisted with a different number of twists to help to eliminate the interference from adjacent pairs and any other electrical devices. So unshielded twisted pair. So this cable, unshielded twisted pair cable has 4 pairs of wires inside the outer jacket. And here each pair is twisted with number of twists per inch to help the eliminate interference from adjacent pairs and any other electrical devices. So there are 5 categories of unshielded twisted pair. UTB category 1 means, so this UTB category 1 cable used only for voice, example telephone wire. Next, category 2 UTP. So we send the data by using this cable, category 2 UTB cable, up to speed 4 Mbps. Next, category 3 UTP. So by using category 3 UTP cable, we send the data at the rate of 10 Mbps speed. Example, Ethernet. This category 3 UTP cables are used as Ethernet cable. Next, category 4. So this category 4 cable, by using this category 4 UTP cable, we send the data at the speed of 20 Mbps, up to 20 Mbps. Example, token ring. This category 4 cables are used in the token ring. And next, category 5 UTP. So by using category 5 UTP, the sender can send the data at the speed of 100 Mbps, and this category 5 UTP cables are used in the fast Ethernet. So this is about unshielded twisted pair. So here unshielded twisted pair cable has 4 pairs of wires inside the one jacket, outer jacket, and each pair of cable here 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 pairs. Each pair is twisted with a number of twists per inch to help the eliminating interference from adjacent pairs and any other electrical devices. The tighter the twisting means, the higher the supported transmission rate and greater cost per foot. The tighter the twisting, it helps the higher speed transmission. This is about unshielded twisted pair. Next one, shielded twisted pair. See, this shielded twisted pair cables additionally have an overall conducting metallic shields here, braided or foil shields, covering these 4 twisted pair cables. So the difference between unshielded twisted pair and shielded twisted pair cables is this shielded twisted pair cables additionally have an overall conducting metallic shields here, braided or foil shields, covering 4 twisted pair cables. So this is the difference between shielded twisted pair cable and unshielded twisted pair cable. So here, in addition to unshielded twisted pair, this shielded pair twisted pair having the one extra shield, braided or foil shield. Okay. So here left one is the shielded twisted pair cable and right here is the unshielded twisted pair cable. So the difference between shielded and unshielded means here shielded twisted pair cable have an extra shield here, braided or foil shield. Okay, that provides more security to these pairs of twisted pair cables. Next one, coaxial cables. So this coaxial cabling has single copper conductor at its center here, center conductor, single copper conductor, and next a plastic layer provides insulation between center conductor here, center conductor, and braided metal shield here. Okay, so this one, a plastic layer, that is foil shield. This foil shield provides insulation between this center conductor and braided shield. Okay, so this braided shield helps to block any outside interference from motors on any other computers. So this coaxial cable has single copper conductor at its center, that is here center conductor. Okay, and next a physical layer, that is here foil shield. So this physical layer, plastic layer, this plastic layer provides insulation between this center conductor and braided shield, and this metal shield helps to block any outside interference. This is about coaxial cables. So there are two types of coaxial cables, thick coaxial cable and thin coaxial cable. There are two types of coaxial cables, thick coaxial cable and thin coaxial cable. Okay, there are two types of coaxial cabling, thick coaxial and thin coaxial. So here thin coaxial is also referred to as thin net, that is 10 base 2 refers to specifications for thin coaxial cable carrying Ethernet signal. So here the 2 refers to approximate maximum segment length being 200 meters. Here 10 base 2 refers to specifications for thin coaxial cable. Next, thick coaxial cable refers to the thick net. Thin coaxial cable refers to thin net, and thick coaxial cable refers to thick net. So here 10 base 5 refers to specifications for thick coaxial cable carrying Ethernet signals. 10 base 2 thin Ethernet. Okay, 10 base 5 thick net, that is thick coaxial cable. 10 base 2 thin coaxial cable, 10 base 5 thick coaxial cable. Thin net 10 base 2, thick net 10 base 5. So here 2 refers to approximate maximum segment length being 200 meters, and here 5 refers to maximum segment length being 500 meters. So 10 base 2 thin net, that is maximum segment length is 200 meters, and next 10 base 5, that is thick coaxial cable. So here 5 means maximum segment length is 500 meters. So thick coaxial cables as an extra protective plastic cover that helps keep moisture away from the center conductor. So this is the advantage of thick coaxial cable over the thin coaxial cable. So once again I repeat this coaxial cable. So this coaxial cable has a single copper conductor at its center here, center conductor, and a plastic layer, that is this one foil shield. This plastic layer provides insulation between center conductor and braided metal shield. So this metal shield helps to block any outside interference from fluorescent lights, motors, and any other computers. So two types of coaxial cables, thin coaxial cable and thick coaxial cable. So 10 base 2 refers to thin coaxial cable, that is thin net, and 10 base 5 refers to thick coaxial cable, that is thick net. So 10 base 2, here 2 refers to the maximum segment length is 200 meters. 10 base 5, so here 5 refers to maximum segment length is 500 meters. Next one here, fiber optics cables. So here fiber optic cable consists of center glass core here, center glass core surrounded by several layers of protective materials. Several here yellow colors. Several layers of protective materials. Center glass core surrounded by several layers of protective materials. So it transmits light rather than electronic signals, eliminating the problem of electrical interference. So your fiber optics cables transmits light rather than electronic signals, eliminating the problem of electrical interference. So it is also used for connecting networks between buildings, okay, due to the its immunity to effects of moisture and lighting. So here fiber optics cables is used for connecting networks between buildings due to its immunity to the effects of moisture and lighting. So this fiber optic cable has the ability to transmit signals much longer distance than coaxial and twisted pair cables. So your fiber optics cable has the ability to transmit signals over much longer distances than coaxial cable and twisted pair cable. So this fiber optics cables is used to connect the networks between buildings. So the main advantage of fiber optics cables over the coaxial and twisted pair cables is, so this fiber optics cable has the ability to transmit signals over longer distances than coaxial cables and twisted pair cables. So this is about fiber optics cables. So fiber optics cables consists of center glass core surrounded by several layers of protective materials. So it transmits light rather than electronic signals, eliminating the problem of electrical interference. And the main advantage of fiber optics cable over the remaining cables, that is coaxial cables and twisted pair cables, is main advantage is, so this fiber optic cable has the ability to transmit signals over much longer distances than coaxial and twisted pair cables. So this is about guided transmission media. So there are 4 types of guided transmission media: unshielded, shielded, fiber optics, and coaxial. So now we discuss unguided transmission media. Transmission media means, so the data travels through cabling system, through the cables. Guided transmission media. So in guided transmission media, the data travels through the cables from source to destination. So unguided transmission media means the data travels through free space in form of waves, radio waves and infrared waves. Okay. So different types of unguided transmission media are radio waves and infrared waves. Now we discuss radio waves and infrared waves. So guided transmission media means the data travels from source to destination through the cables, and unguided means the data travels from source to destination through the air. That means through the radio waves or infrared waves. Here, 2 types of unguided transmission media. The data travels through the air. So different types of unguided transmission media are radio waves and infrared waves. So here, first one, radio waves. So here, transmission of data using radio frequencies is called radio wave transmission. Transmission of data using radio frequencies is called radio wave transmissions. So we are all familiar with radio channels that broadcast entertainment programs. So here radio stations transmit radio waves using the transmitters. Okay. So and which are received by using the receivers. So here both transmitters and receivers use antennas to capture radio signals. Here both transmitters and receivers use the antennas to capture radio signals. So these frequencies can also be used for direct voice communication within allocated range. So the frequency of radio waves is generally 10 miles. So radio waves means the transmission of data using radio frequencies is called radio wave transmission. So radio stations transmit radio waves using transmitters and received by using receivers. Here both transmitters and receivers use antennas to capture the radio signals. And the frequency of radio waves, general frequency range of radio waves is usually 10 miles. Second one, infrared waves. So these infrared waves are used for only very short distance communication like TV remote, wireless speakers, automatic doors, and any household devices. So these infrared waves are used for very short distance communication, short range communication. Example, TV remote, wireless speakers, automatic doors, and any other handheld devices, etc. So these infrared signals can propagate within a room, but cannot propagate walls. However, due to such short range, it is considered to be one of the most secure transmission modes. So infrared waves, these infrared waves are used for very short distance communication like TV remote, wireless speakers, automatic doors, and any other handheld devices, etc. So these infrared signals can propagate within a room, but cannot propagate wall. However, due to such short range communication, this infrared waves is one of the most secure transmission mode, one of the most secure transmission media. Here infrared waves media is one of the most secure transmission media. So these infrared waves are used for very short range communication. For example, TV remote, wireless speakers, automatic doors, and any other handheld devices. Within the room only, these infrared signals can propagate within a one room, but cannot propagate walls outside the room. So this is about transmission media. So guided transmission media, okay, that is the data is transferred to source to destination through the cables. Data travels through cabling system. And unguided transmission media, the data travels through free space in form of electromagnetic signals. So two types of unguided transmission media, radio waves and infrared waves. And different types of guided transmission media are unshielded twisted pair, shielded twisted pair, fiber optics cable, and coaxial cable. And here specification of Ethernet cables. Suppose the specification is 10 base T means unshielded twisted pair, and the maximum cable length is 100 meters. And next 10 base 2, that is thin coaxial cable, the maximum length is 185 meters. And 10 base 5, that is thick coaxial cable, the maximum cable length, maximum cable segment length is 500 meters. 10 base F, that is fiber optics cable, the maximum segment length, cable segment length is 2000 meters. So this is about specification of Ethernet cable. Suppose if you use fiber optic cable, the specification of that cable is 10 base F. The maximum segment length of that fiber optic cable is 2000 meters. Multiplexing. Next topic in unit 2 is multiplexing. Next one here, multiplexing. So here multiplexing is a technique used to combine and send the multiple data streams over a single medium. Multiplexing is used to combine and send the multiple data streams over a single medium. So the process of combining the data streams is called multiplexing. So here multiplexing is a technique is used to combine and send the multiple data streams over a single medium. That is, the process of combining data streams is called multiplexing. So this multiplexing is achieved by using a device called multiplexer. This multiplexing technique is achieved by using a device called multiplexer. So this multiplexer combines n input lines to generate single output line. Multiplexer combines n input lines to generate single output line, n to 1. So this multiplexing follows many to one, that is n input lines, one output line, many to one. On the other hand, demultiplexing operates a signal into its component signals. So demultiplexer receives a data from single medium and identifies each one and send to different receivers. So here multiplexing is many to one and demultiplexing one to many. So multiplexing is achieved by device called multiplexer that combines n input lines to generate single output line. So on the other hand, demultiplexing, it operates signal into its component signals. So on the other hand, demultiplexer receives a data from single medium and identifies each one and send to different receivers. That is one to many. So that is about introduction to multiplexing. Multiplexing is used to combine and send the multiple data streams over a single medium. So the process of combining data streams is called multiplexing. So here multiplexer combines n input lines to generate single output line, many to one. Multiplexing means many to one. Combines many input lines to generate one output line. On the other hand, demultiplexing receives data from single medium and identifies each one and send to different receivers. That is demultiplexing means one to many. So now we discuss different types of multiplexing. First one, frequency division multiplexing. Second one, time division multiplexing. Third one, code division multiplexing. Let us discuss each multiplexing: frequency division multiplexing and time division multiplexing, and last one, code division multiplexing. Let us discuss each one. So first one here, frequency division multiplexing. So here frequency division multiplexing sends a signals in different frequencies. Okay, here different frequency ranges, carries a multiple video channels on a single medium, here single cable. Okay, here this multiplexing sends a signals in several different frequency ranges, here F1, F2, F3, carries a multiple video channels on a single line, here F1, F2, F3 are in a single line. Okay. So your channel is dedicated to user based on dedicated frequency. Suppose here on the same channel, suppose user one have frequency 1. User 1 has to send the data in a frequency range of F1. Next, user 2 has to send a data over a frequency range of F2 on a channel, same channel. And F3 also send the data in a frequency F3. Okay, here user 3 also send the data in range of frequency F3 on the same channel. So here multiplexing combines here channel 1 and channel 2, channel 3 into single channel. So initially user sends the data during the frequency F1 through the channel 1, and next user send the data or the frequency range of F2 in channel 2. Next, user 3 send the data within a frequency F3 through the channel 3. So by using this multiplexer, channel 1 and channel 2 and channel 3 combines into the single channel. Multiplexing means combining n input lines to the single output line. So here three channels, channel 1, channel 2, channel 3. So these three channels are combined into the single channel. Okay, and this channel is dedicated to users based on frequency. Suppose user 1 has to send data over a frequency range of F1 on channel. Next, user 2 have to send the frequency range of F2 through the same channel, and F3. Next, user 3. User 3 has to send the data or the frequency range of F3 on the same channel. Okay. Channel 1 and channel 2 and channel 3 are combined into the single channel, and this single channel is dedicated to users based on frequencies. And next, on the other hand, demultiplexing at the receiver side. Demultiplexing. So this demultiplexing receives a data from single medium, that is single channel, okay, and identifies each one and send to different receivers. Identifies each one and send to different receivers. Here, demultiplexing receives a data from the single channel and identifies each user and send to different users, okay, different channels. Here, channel 1 and channel 2 and channel 3. So multiplexing many to one and demultiplexing one to many. This is about frequency division multiplexing. So here, each user can use the channel frequency independently. Suppose user 1 use the channel frequency F1, user 2 use the channel frequency F2, user 3 use the channel frequency F3. Okay. So this device, this means channels are separated by God bands. Here God band is a frequency. Okay, this channel is divided into frequencies. So in a frequency range F1, channel 1 send the data. That is user 1 send the data to here. Okay. This is about frequency division multiplexing. Here, frequency division multiplexing sends signals in different frequency ranges, carries multiple video channels on a single cable. Here we use only single cable, multiple video channels on a single cable. Next one, time division multiplexing. So here, time division multiplexing is used to dedicate the channel to users only for short period of time. This channel is dedicated to users only for short period of time. So frequency division multiplexing, here one channel is divided into the frequency ranges. In time division multiplexing, channel is dedicated to user only for short period of time. See here, user A sends the data in one channel and user B sends the data in channel 2, and next user C send the data in channel 3, and next user D send the data in channel D. So here all channels, multiple channels are combined into the single channel. Okay, A, B, C, D. All are send data using the single cable only. So here multiplexing, combining multiple channels into the single channel. On the other hand, demultiplexing, here divides single channel into the multiple channels. So here, first one A, next B, next C, next time D, next once again round robin manner A, B, C, D, next again round robin manner A, B, C, D. Okay. So first time A send the data, next time interval B, next C send the data, next D send the data, next A, next B. Okay, round robin manner. That is the time division multiplexing. And there two types of time division multiplexing: synchronous and asynchronous TDM. Synchronous time division multiplexing and asynchronous time division multiplexing. So asynchronous time division multiplexing is also called as statistical time division multiplexing. Synchronous time division multiplexing. Second one, statistical time division multiplexing. So let us see the difference between synchronous and asynchronous. So asynchronous also called as statistical time division multiplexing. Suppose here this system having the 4 input streams A, B, C, D. Okay, here example 4 input streams A, B, C, D. Each of the data stream is divided into units and which are allocated time slots in the round robin manner. That is here. Time slot 1 is allocated to A. time slot 2 is allocated to B, time slot 3 is allocated to C, time slot 4 is allocated to D. Once again round robin manner. So first one A, so time slot 5 is allocated to A, next time slot 6 is allocated to B, and this goes on until all the data in the all the streams are transmitted. This goes on until the data in the all streams are transmitted. That is synchronous time division multiplexing. Next one, statistical time division multiplexing. So here the time slots are dynamically allocated slots according to demand. The time slots are dynamically allocated according to their demand. So here time slots are dynamically allocated according to their demand. Here multiplexer checks each stream in a round robin manner and allocates a slot to input line only if the data is present there. Otherwise it skips to the next stream. Suppose A, first time slot is allocated to A, time slot B is time slot 2 is allocated to B. So if there is no data in input stream C, then this time slot 3 is allocated to D, but not C. Okay. But in case of synchronous TDM, if there is no data in C, so this multiplexer allocates time slot to C only. But in case of asynchronous TDM, if there is no data in C, then it skips to next one, that is D. Okay. Suppose A, B input streams have data and D have data, but C stream does not have any data. So then in case of synchronous TDM, here first slot A, B, C, D. Next once again round robin A, B, C, D. Next once again round robin A, B, C, D. Next, in case of asynchronous or statistical TDM, here C does not have any data. So first A, next second time slot B, and next time slot it skipped to next one, that is D, A, B, D. Next A, B, D, next A, B, D. Okay, and so on. This process goes on until the data in all streams are transmitted. This is about time division multiplexing. Remember the difference between frequency division multiplexing and time division multiplexing. So here time frequency division multiplexing, the channel is dedicated to user based on frequency. See here, single channel, different frequencies F1, F2, F3. So F1 frequency user 1, F2 frequency user 2, F3 frequency user 3. That means user 1 has to send the data in frequency range of F1, and next user 2 has to send the data over a frequency range of F2. Next user 3 have to send a data over a frequency range of F3 through the same cable. Okay, so initially user 1 and user 2, user 3 uses 3 channels, but after multiplexing these 3 channels are combined into the single channel. Next again demultiplexing converts this single channel into the multiple channels. Okay. Next, in case of time division multiplexing, the channel is dedicated to user only for short period of time, time intervals. Suppose time slot 1 A, time slot 2 B. That means user A has to send data in the time interval, first time interval, time slot 1. Next, user B has to send the data using time slot 2. Next, user C has to send the data through the same cable in time slot 3. Okay. So this is about time division multiplexing. So synchronous time division multiplexing and asynchronous time division multiplexing. So asynchronous time division multiplexing is also called as statistical time division multiplexing. Next one, code division multiplexing. Next last one is code division multiplexing. So here code division multiplexing is a multiplexing technique that uses spread spectrum communication. So in spread spectrum communication, a narrow band signal is spread over a larger band of frequency or multiple channels via division. So this code division multiplexing is used to allow multiple signals from multiple users to share a one common communication channel. Okay, and this technology is called CDMA, code division multiple access. That means each group of users is given a shared code, one code, and individual conversations are encoded in a digital sequences. And the data is available on the shared channel, but only those users associated with particular code can access the data. So multiple users can share the same code. Okay, code division multiplexing. So these are three types of multiplexing. So in this class we discussed transmission media, types of transmission media, guided and unguided, and different types of multiplexing, frequency division multiplexing, time division multiplexing, and code division multiplexing. In next class, we discuss digital modulation techniques and Fourier analysis and bandwidth limited signals and maximum data rate of your channel and some problems. Okay.